Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be doing this live and sharing all about this journey and where I am right now at the end of 2022 and answering your questions. You've all sent in so many incredible questions that I cannot wait to get to. So let's jump into it. Let's just start. And if there are any questions that come up that you want to ask in the chat, in the question icon down at the bottom, then feel free to do that. And I'll be checking that periodically as well. So this is the 300K in 2022 Q&A. So 300,000, a little bit over, actually, it's like 310 or 315. In 12 months collected from January to December, and still, of course, payments are rolling in, but 300K is that big number that we're focusing on. So I'm answering high-level questions about how I created this. Not necessarily this is exactly what I did and here's the blueprint for you to follow, but this is a really good way for you to I love things like this, and I've consumed a lot of like question and answers and things like this in the past because it's a really good expansion. It's a really good expander for me in order to really see that things like this are possible and that it doesn't have to take, these crazy big lofty ideas that sometimes we think that it takes. And it doesn't need all of that. It just needs very simple things. It needs your belief. It needs your self-concept work, identity work, etc. Okay? So let's get into it. Yay, Nancy said, super excited for today's live. I'm so excited that you're here. Okay, beautiful. So, let's see. I have a bunch of questions. Let me actually start with some of the questions that I was asked on a previous question slide. So I'm going to kind of go in order of what I see, and I can kind of pick and choose based on what I see here and what I have that I've already been asked. So let's see. Okay. How exactly did you make the amount? What offers made you the most? I think that's a good question. Hi, Hella. You don't even know what to ask. Something will come to you, or you can just decide that you're going to take something away from this live and you're going to get exactly what you need. Okay. Let me put this in the chat. It says, how exactly did you make the amount? And then what offers made you the most? Okay, so this is what I'm answering right now. So let's just focus on this year. So this year, my offers were one-on-one coaching, which was still happening, but at a higher level, meaning it was like my highest ticket offer. And then it was a lot more minimal. So like I did not do like 20 one-on-one clients. I did like very selective, pre-selected, like pretty much people who have been through BAA or they've kind of been in my world for a while. Like I was very selective about who I was working with in terms of one-on-one. So that was one of the offers, but I only worked with total this year. I think I only worked with like 10, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe like 15 one-on-one clients. It was just like lower than normal. What I focused on was Business Activation Academy, which was I think one of the biggest, and then my mastermind, which launched towards the end of the year. And then of course I also had offers in between that are not really part of my like main business model, are more so like when I feel called to bringing something to life and I want to do like a mini course, I want to do like a mini offer, I want to do like a mini masterclass or something like that, I'll kind of like place that sporadically throughout the year where it feels good. But the main things were Business Activation Academy, my one-on-one coaching, and then later in the year, my mastermind kind of took us over to 300K. So Business Activation Academy is my foundational academy. It's my foundational course where you can come in, learn the basics. You are typically a new coach, or you're a coach looking to like really create good foundations, right? You want to be confident in what you're marketing and selling. You maybe don't know how to market. You haven't worked with a lot of clients, or you're looking to book your first client. That's where you learn how to do that, is inside Business Activation Academy. And BAA has been running for about a year and a half now. So it's on Evergreen. People essentially just apply and they get accepted if they are, you know, within like those requirements of being a coach, being a new coach, what are you here to learn, etc. They go in, go through the process. So that's pretty streamlined now. I don't really do launches for that. The launches that I did do were, like I mentioned, the mini courses, mini offers, and then of course my mastermind, which I was actually going to launch earlier this year, but I ended up pushing it out because I wanted a little bit more time to develop it. I didn't want to just throw something out there for the sake of let's just get this out there as soon as possible. And so that was one of the things that I, you know, kind of reeled back on. And that was one of the things that I was talking about in one of my posts recently on my feed, is that this year I intentionally made less money. Like I could have made probably double what I made this year. But I didn't want to go into hustle. I didn't want to overextend myself. I wanted to create a really, really good foundation for me to continue to scale into 1 million, because I'm going to be hitting 1 million within the year. And so that's something that I really, really wanted to just hone in on. And sometimes you really do have to pull back in order to shoot forward really, really far. And that's what I did this year. I focused a lot on my healing. I worked with a spiritual life coach. I just focused a lot on like my own growth as a human being, as a person. I allowed myself to take time off and travel, even though I still ended up making like at least 20K months while I was traveling, which was really, really cool because of the foundations that I had built. And I teach you how to do that inside Business Activation Academy. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown of what made the most amount and the offers that made the most. Let me choose a question from one of the questions that are here. Let's see. So many good questions. I'm really proud of all of the questions that were sent in. Okay, this is a good one. How have your self-concepts changed as your business evolved? So this is a really good question. I think that they've changed so much in so many different ways based on what I am deciding, right? So self-concept is something that I teach inside my mastermind as well as in Business Activation Academy. It's essentially who you believe you are and your identity, right? And you decide what that is. Nobody decides that for you. You decide your identity. You decide how you show up. And you decide like what you believe about yourself, right? And so in the beginning, I think actually from the beginning, I really believed that I was capable of working with clients and really being able to grow a thriving business. I think that the main things that shifted were around like the what's the right word? The way that I would run my business and how I would create those clients and how I would create the success I wanted. Because and of course I had my own, I had my own journey with imposter syndrome and growing as a coach and learning, right? So one of the things that I never let myself spend too much time on was like, oh, I'm so new. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm just like a baby coach. Like, I don't really know. I never let myself spend time there because that's not the kind of person that people want to hire, right? So I spent a lot of time building from the get-go. I feel like from like the beginning of my business, I spent a lot of time believing and being in the energy of people want to work with me. Everybody wants to work with me. My success is inevitable. That's something that I did from the get-go. I don't know where that came from. I think it came also from years and years of being a content creator and being an influencer on social media. So I was very, very confident. I had an audience that I was speaking to. I had a Facebook group that I was running. And so there were a lot of behind the scenes things that I had kind of going on before I even launched my, first coaching program. And yeah, someone said, love those affirmations. So I just chose to, anytime I would try to like slip back into, because I had some very high level, like when I was like just hitting the 6-figure mark, I had multi 7-figure mentors. I'm not going to drop any names, but there were some people that were reaching out to me to be mentored by me and to work with me. And I had to go through this process where I almost said no, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm capable of this, right? But there has to be a certain switch where you really believe deeply in yourself and the work that you're doing. And continue. I remember like before one of those calls, I put a Post-it on my note that said everything that everything I know is already within me, or like everything I need to know is already within me, right? So it just helped ground me into like, this is something I'm creating for myself and I am capable of this, even if I have like human doubts, right? So yeah, I feel like based on, how my business shifted and how I wanted my vision to shift, I allowed myself to adopt new beliefs about how I was going to think about myself. Even this year, right? And I've been doing this for years now, and I've worked with hundreds of clients. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I still had to shift into this version of myself that was like, I am capable of running a successful mastermind. I am capable of, big launches, that I'm capable of, incredible client results and transformations. And so, believing that first rather than taking action around it first, because sometimes we take action and overcompensate for the lack of belief in ourselves, right? So we take action hoping that it will create more belief rather than actually focusing on the belief itself. So a lot of what I did was like pull back, sacrifice money, sacrifice working with clients just to hone in on my belief, my process, what I was doing, how I was helping my clients, and making sure that like I was focusing so deeply, because now I'm scaling, right? Like when you're growing, you can kind of hustle and grind a little bit just to like, oh, well, let's see if this works. Let's see if that works. Like, oh, let me try that. Let me kind of do that. Like, it's kind of okay to do that hitting 6 figures, right? Like, don't turn it into a pattern and don't like burn yourself out into the ground. But I think it's okay to do that a little bit when you're growing, because you're so new. You don't know what you don't know. So I think sometimes it helps to have that kind of baseline of like, okay, I've tried that. I'm not doing that. This is what I'm doing. But when you're going from like 500K to 1 million, you can't do that same thing anymore, right? Like you need to be smarter. You need to be really creating client results and transformations out the ass, right? Like it needs to be something that is just streamlined. It's happening. It's creating. People are sharing word of mouth. Your clients are getting incredible results. They are unrecognizable by the time they walk out of your programs, right? And those are things that I really had to like focus in on and hone in on, first with BAA, focusing on that, and then now with the mastermind. So my self-concept around that has been like, this is something that I am capable of doing, right? And even when I didn't believe it, even when it wasn't fully there, I would continue to create beliefs and thoughts and really self-coach myself and get coached on it, get mentored, be in high-level masterminds where I've paid $20,000 over and over, right, to get coached and to really be in rooms where people have the audacity to believe in themselves on such a high level. And it literally brainwashes me into believing that I can believe in myself and I can create massive results. And ask anyone in my mastermind, they will tell you that the energy of just being in that room, of sitting at that table with high level coaches that are growing to six figures, and the belief that they have in themselves and each other, it's just buzzing. It's bouncing off inside the room. And it's almost impossible not to create results and hit your goals inside that room, because you're just constantly surrounded by people who believe in you so deeply. And I believe in them so deeply. I have a vision for every single one of my students that I see, that I remind them of, that I tell them over and over, you're a high level coach. Everything you do creates value. You are the value. You are the magic. And over and over and over and over, I'm literally brainwashing them. They're like, oh my God. And they start to believe it and they start to see it, right? I'm like, take up more space, be bigger, 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 right? You're mousing around, you're tiptoeing. Stop it. Stop doing that, right? Like, why are you apologizing? Why are you asking for permission, right? Like, do it bigger, bigger, take up more space. And they're like, they literally become these people that are like, oh my gosh, I can do this, right? And it isn't necessarily because of me. I do think that masterminds have such magical energy, but it's because they're choosing to be in a room where they're going to walk out of that room 5 months later a completely different person. And they're deciding that from the get-go, right? Regardless of what happens in the room, regardless of how it goes, regardless of specific teachings, they are deciding that this is who they're becoming and this is how they're walking away, right? And that is so powerful, because how often do we see people blame their coaches and blame programs and it's this person's fault, it's that, like, how powerful is it instead to take full responsibility for our actions, decisions, results 100% of the time? That is what creates a smart, high-level, successful entrepreneur. One that does not go into victimhood, one that does not blame anybody else, right? Not other than themselves. Like, you're not blaming yourself, you're taking responsibility, right? You're owning up to it. That's powerful. That is power. You are not giving your power away to someone else. Oh, this coach didn't, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this course didn't. You are taking full responsibility and deciding that you are getting what you're coming here for. Yeah. Rachel said, I'm not in the mastermind, but just attending your free workshops had magical energy. Thank you so much, Rachel. That is really what I want to provide, like, here on this live. Any value that I create that's free, all of my master classes, I want it to be I want you all to be making money just from my free content, and it is 100% possible, and it happens all the time. And my students, when they do join my containers, when they're like, yep, time to go, let's do the mastermind, they're like, they already have built that trust with me because they've already seen results. They've already booked clients from previous content, podcasts, etc. Right? And that's what I teach them to do as well, is to over deliver and create value in a big way, so that when people are in your containers, they're already like, yeah, I know how this person works. Like, they're already magical. They've already changed my life. They've already provided massive amounts of value and magic. So this is just taking it to a whole nother level. Okay, beautiful. So I think I answered that to the extent of what felt right. Let's see. What else should I? And then all of you who are on live, feel free to click the question icon and I will be able to bring that into the front screen. And I'll be able to answer it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is a pretty good question, as some of you are putting in some of your questions. This question is, what systems or best practices helped carry you through to success? I mean, there are so many, and what I really want to focus on here before I get into anything else is there was not just one strategy or one system that got me to where I am now, right? Like, I'm very much a person that, I'm very much a coach that hones in on your beliefs, your mindset, your energy, the way that you approach something, I believe that that carries so much weight to a point where if you have a very high self-concept and you believe in yourself so deeply, and your identity, who you are, who you embody is this calm, grounded energy as a coach, it doesn't really matter what action or process or strategy you end up taking, right? If you end up doing a webinar, fine. If you end up doing like a live on Facebook, fine. If you end up doing a like Zoom masterclass, fine. If you end up going live, fine. If the only thing you ever do is sell on your stories, fine, right? None of those are better than another. I think sometimes what we get really tripped up on, especially as new coaches and new business owners, is like, there's gotta be that one perfect golden strategy that's gonna change everything, right? Like, let me just buy course after course and hunt the internet and scour, and try to find that one golden thing, that one golden strategy that's going to change everything. And that's really not the case, because we've seen people utilize, specific techniques and tools and platforms. And we've also seen people who are successful that don't do that at all in their business. And I really believe that it goes back to what you're believing about yourself and what you're choosing to step into in terms of your identity. And then whatever you end up choosing, just make sure that that's something that you're committing and deciding upon. And then from there, you're taking aligned, massive action. So for me, really, really what helped was having that belief in myself first, like having that really, really deep belief that my success was inevitable. This is such a powerful thought. This is such a powerful thought. And if you can't wrap your brain around it completely right now, just telling yourself, like, I'm open to my success being inevitable. I am on my way to believing my success is inevitable. Because when you truly believe that your success is just an inevitable thing, even if you don't get the result that you want in the first launch of the year, say, you're not going to go into despair mode, because you know that you're in it for the long game. You know that you are creating success inevitably, and it's going to come to you come hell or high water. Okay? So just because that first launch of the year didn't go your way doesn't mean that everything's gone to shit. It just means that you need to come at it from curiosity. You need to come at it from patience, compassion, self-love. And you get to troubleshoot. You get to evaluate, okay, what didn't work here? What did work and what has worked in the past? What didn't feel aligned, right? And then you get to sit there and then you get to run experiments and you get to do it over and over and over again and continue to show up and grow your capacity to hold difficult and uncomfortable emotions. The most successful business owners and people are the ones who are able to hold uncomfortable emotions and process those emotions and love themselves and have their own back at the end of the day. There's nothing more special or knowledgeable about them. They are just able to do this on a grand scale over and over because they're building that stamina, because it goes back to their belief, identity, and self-concept of I am successful no matter what. My success is inevitable no matter what. So even when they hit bumps in the road, even when they, don't get what they want, something doesn't go their way, they're not throwing everything away. They don't go into weeks and weeks and weeks of despair. They hop back up, they get back up, they process and sit with their emotions, cry if you need to, get self-coaching if you need to, but they get back up and they do it again because they believe their success is inevitable. So their thinking is, if not this time, next time, right? I am just building experience and growth for my next best launch. I am just getting better at launching so that each launch will be better than the last, right? When you have that belief, doesn't it just lift weight off of your shoulders already? You're not like, oh my God, this is going to be make it or break it, right? Like everything's riding on this one launch. How much pressure and how exhausting is that to just show up in your energy and emotions? Like I wouldn't want any of my clients, any of you to show up that way, because that's what leads to overworking and burning out and overwhelm. And it's what causes a lot of business owners to, start like grasping for straws, start really burning themselves into the ground, and thinking that every single thing rides on one specific opportunity or task or launch or whatever, right? So I think that's a really big one. Other best practices, really learning how to, I already touched on this a little bit, but really learning how to focus on the long game as an entrepreneur and not just immediate gratification. Because there's a lot of things that you can do as a business owner that are just going to get you cash quick sometimes. And I think a lot of people get stuck there at like $30, $40, $50 type like offers, or even $100 at a time, versus they can sell $100 per hour for a 3-month program where they meet weekly, right? And focusing on that, because that is going to be where the biggest transformation takes place. When you work with someone on a consistent basis, you're in their corner, they're getting accountability, they're getting coaching, right? That is going to be much more powerful than just, oh, does this person want this? Oh, let me just come up with this offer. Oh, this client wants that. It's just a customizable thing. Let me just make it for them, right? Like, you really have to be in integrity and really focus on the money that you can be making in a longer period of time versus what maybe can happen within a short amount of time, but it's really more like sporadic versus sustainable growth and sustainable success. Does that make sense? So it's really looking at, and in the beginning, like, I think it's fine to do, if you're a coach, if you're an instructor, if you're an online mentor, like, it's okay to do a couple of like, one-off like sessions and whatnot, just because you want to get people in front of you and you want to coach as many people as possible and build that experience. But as you are growing and building a successful business, that's not something that can continue sustainably. And that's not going to be the most impactful way for your clients to get results, right? Often when we're doing that and when we're thinking about ourselves and we're thinking about, I need to make money, we're making it very self-centered. When you think about your client's growth and your client's transformation, which one do you feel like is going to impact their success deeper? A 1-hour call with you, or a 3-month coaching program where you're working weekly together, where you're in their corner, you are coaching them, you're offering support in between the calls, and you're working together on these goals in an intimate, private space? Obviously, it's going to be the 3 months together, right? But sometimes we get it in our heads that, well, the 3 months, it's going to be more money. It's going to be like $900 or $800 or maybe 4 figures, and people aren't going to want to buy. And instead of actually sitting with those thoughts and reframing those thoughts and sitting with our lack of belief to create belief, we end up just selling more of those one-on-one offer, more of those one-off offers, another $50 offer, another $60 offer. Oh, it's just easy. Oh, it's just going to make me money right away this week, rather than sitting with the belief of, and reframing the belief of, my people don't want to pay me, or my people don't want to invest in themselves, or my community doesn't invest in themselves, right? That's something I've heard a lot. Like, how, like, okay, I'm not even going to get into that right now, but yeah, so it all goes back to your thoughts and your beliefs, and being able to scale by pulling back a little bit and really focusing on the long run. And then another thing that's a little bit more high level is delegation. So I have a team that works with me. I have a CFO. I also have an online business manager. And so a lot of the things that are kind of back end, email, tech, processes, automations, all of that stuff, like, I don't look at it. I don't see it. I don't even, like, I'm not in it. Some of it I don't even know how to do because I just don't want to do it. So that's at my level. That's not something you need to worry about until like $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in revenue. It's not something that you need at all in the beginning of your business. But as you continue to grow, building a team and learning how to be a really good leader is something that I have learned and grown in over and over and over and over, and has been challenging in its own ways. I've definitely worked with people that weren't a good fit and have had to let them go from my company. So that's happened, right? Like, they're just, you really, it's not a charity charity. Your business is not a charity. Your business is a business. And so really stepping into that role of like, it's not personal, it's literally just business. You really have to do as a CEO. And that's something that I teach my higher level coaches in the mastermind, because that's mastermind level conversations, but it's not something you need to worry about in the first, I would say the first couple 100,000. Like, do not worry about that right now. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Rachel, how did you manage working on your business while you had a full-time job and a daughter? So when I started my business, I was not working full-time, but I was in school. So I was a single mom taking college credits, right? Getting my bachelor's degree done, and I was building my business full-time. Everything I was doing was pretty much full-time. And so it forced me, and I think that this was actually a blessing in disguise, because when you have so much time and you've got so much of an open calendar, you really start to see your mind reeling. I didn't have time for my mind to reel. Okay, guys, I was waking up at 7 a.m. I would drop my daughter to school, and then I would drive immediately to school, right? You all know how I hate early mornings, but I was doing it. I had 9 a.m. classes, right? 8 a.m. classes. And so I would drive all the way to school. I would listen to a podcast on the way over. I would get to school, focus on work, finish my homework. In the breaks, I would be sending out emails. During the breaks, in between my classes, I'm posting content on social media. I'm connecting with my clients. I'm taking client calls in the library, in the balcony, because I couldn't take them inside the library, right? Because you need to be extremely quiet. So then after that, I would come back home. I would pick up my daughter from school, sit in traffic for about an hour and a half. So again, listening to podcasts, catching up on coaching calls, replays, etc., coaching myself, coming back home, cooking dinner, spending quality time with my daughter, putting her to bed. And then that's when I would start working on my business again. If I'm studying for finals, getting homework done, I would do that first. And then I would work on my business, creating more content for the next day, prepping for whatever I needed. I wasn't going to school every single day. There were like I would go like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, okay. There were some times where I was, and there were some times where I like scheduled my classes all on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or all on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So whatever days I wasn't going to school, I was taking sales calls. So I was taking sales calls and client calls back to back to back to back to back. That's all I was doing. And I would either do that at school, or I would do that at home and make sure like my homework was done before or after. I really had to figure out how to like manage my mind and manage my, like, I had very little drama about it because I had very little time to have drama about it. I learned to pump out content like a motherfucker. Like I got that process down so fast. I could pump something out in like 5 to 10 minutes and not think about it, not worry about it, not make it aesthetic, not make it pretty. My feed was not aesthetic at all, and I didn't give a shit because I was focused on delivering value over and over and over. I remember going live when I was at school. I would go live in between my classes. I would teach trainings. There were so many things I did that just overlapped with one another because I didn't make it a problem. I didn't make myself a victim. I made myself, like, I chose to create very powerful self-concepts about, I'm just going to get this shit done, right? Like when you're a mom, when you're a single mom, like no one's going to jump in and help. Nobody knows what you're going through. Your friends don't have any idea what you're doing, right? Like even like the people who are closest to you have no idea what it's like and how hard it is to be a single mom. Even moms who are married and moms who, like have a partner have no idea what it's like to be a single mom most of the time, right? Unless they have like a certain situation going on in their family dynamic. But it is so demanding and it is so overstimulating that I had to be very deliberate about where I was spending my time and getting really good at self-coaching myself, right? So typically most people aren't that busy when they're building an online business, but a lot of people at least have a day job. So you are gonna have to decide, you're gonna have to sacrifice, right? You're not gonna have to sacrifice everything, but you are going to have to, again, the long game, right? You're gonna have to sacrifice some weekends and some time going out with friends, maybe sacrificing some Netflix time or whatever it is, in order to really, really hone in on who you're serving, creating content, creating value, which is the number one thing, especially in the beginning, is creating value, showing up, meeting people online and in person, and telling them who you are and what you do. I connected with so many people. I ended up being asked back to my school as an alumni to speak to the communications department just because I wouldn't shut up about my business, right? Like everyone in my class knew what I was doing. Everyone was following me on social media because I would talk about it all the time, right? And there are people that just like, if you are scared, if you are playing small, you're going to see those consequences in your sales. 100%. If you are playing small and holding back and just like, oh, I'm just going to change the link in my bio and just hope that somebody sees it and books a call with me and pays me $5,000 and like, yeah, I just hope that happens without me ever having to talk about it. Like, no, you are going to suffer the consequences via sales. You are literally costing yourself sales by thinking that. You are costing yourself sales by thinking, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be too salesy. I'm worried about what people think about me. I'm going to put that over the success and the growth and the health of my own business. And I see people doing this all the time, and I call them out on it, right? I call them out on it in my mastermind. And I tell them like, hey, this is what you're doing. You are playing small. You can be bigger, right? Like, whatever you think is the amount that you need to show up in order to make sales and attract your clients and get in front of people, let people know what it is that you do, times that by 4, right? Times that by 10. Then we're talking, right? So yeah, anyway, that's how I managed it. It's very different now because I have a lot more time, but I've already built a lot of that foundation. A lot of it did go back to my beliefs and just deciding that this is what I'm doing, just deciding that I am a business owner as much as I am a single mom, just as much as I am a college student, right? And I decided like, that is just what I'm doing. This is how I'm showing up. And I was also really kind to myself about it in the process. So if I needed to rest, I would let myself rest when I knew that I had the energy to create. I was just so focused on like loving on my clients that I ended up finding a way to do it almost every single day. So for those that have been following me for years, you know that I'll show up on stories and probably post like 10 to 20 stories a day, right? Every single day. There's some type of value you're getting from me. And if it's not in a form of training or some type of like business related post, it's through me just being the value and me just being the magic and showing up, and that's value enough. So yeah, that's what I believe throughout the entire time. Okay. Did I end up using my degree? Not really, but there was a lot that I wanted to finish school, not necessarily just to have the degree to use it, just because I'm going to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life, but there are a lot of things that I learned while getting the degree that I feel like was useful. Do I feel like I need it? No, but I decided to finish for a lot of personal reasons and honestly for my parents. I don't recommend that. It was just something I decided to do because I was so close towards the end. I wanted to finish what I started. You don't have to finish what you start. In that case, I wanted to finish what I started. And I wanted to, I just wanted to say that I did it because I worked so hard. I went to take finals 8 months pregnant. I remember the teacher asking how far along I was when I was, doing my last finals before I gave birth to her. I took a year off and I went back to take classes and to hire a babysitter with the little money that I was making, or just take her to school with me. She's been in every single one of my classrooms. And I used to bring her to my day job as well. So she would sit next to me or she would sit on my lap. And so for me, it was more so finishing my degree to say that to kind of close up the end of this chapter and this journey for me. And it's always been a dream for my immigrant parents from China to see me graduate. And because I was so close to the end, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And I did. So that's why I did it. Thank you. That's very sweet. Okay. Let's see. How did I get myself to actually believe the kind of thoughts needed to scale a business? Oh my gosh. Wow, I can say so much about this, and I feel like I already have. It really takes having a very clean and managed mind and energy. Okay, so let me elaborate on that. I do not believe that results take time. Like, yes, of course, in some cases, right? Like in marketing and in psychology and whatnot, like people need to see things several times before they buy. A lot of my students have been following me for years, some of them months before they invest in me. But I also believe that creating results is just you making a decision and deciding that this is what's happening. This is what's going on. This is what my people need. I am the best coach for them, right? These decisions or these thoughts don't need to take a lot of time. It just is a matter of you believing, right? Results don't take time. They take belief. If there's anything that you take away from this live, take that away, right? Results do not take time. They take belief. So when you are fully believing in yourself and working on why you're not, that is going to carry you so much further than the perfect quote unquote strategy. You just sitting with your thoughts, you just sitting with why you don't believe, where this is coming from, what you think instead, right? Just that act itself is going to create you closer. It's going to make you closer and closer and closer to your ultimate belief. Because what's happening is you are training your brain from thinking one thing, because a belief is just a thought you've told yourself over and over again. That's all it is. It doesn't even necessarily have to be true. And most of the time it's not. So it's just looking at, what am I believing? What have I been telling myself? What have I been thinking is true this entire time? And then deciding, this is how I want to show up instead. This is what I believe about my people. This is what I believe about myself. This is what I believe about my offer. And spending time there, thinking thoughts that are going to create that belief. And then when you do that, and you decide and you come at it with this very big energy, you start to see evidence for it all around you, right? You start to see it come to life. You start to see it like pop up in your business and in your reality. And that's a really, really cool feeling. And so it's just a matter of you deciding. And if you can't, and if it's something that you feel like is a stretch, sitting with why that is. I think a lot of business owners and the students that I've just seen, because I've worked with so many, like I'm very, very intimate with this process because I've seen it so much, right? So what I see is like there's a lack of belief. And then instead of sitting with that belief and sitting with that thought and changing that thought and self-coaching and digging deep and experiencing uncomfortable emotions, people would much rather just throw strategy, throw money at it, throw money at the problem, delegate it. Oh, I need a funnel. Oh, I need ads. Oh, that's the problem. Oh, I need to take more action. I need to do, right? This is what ends up happening. And then there's this like heap of like actions and tasks that then you're doing, but doesn't actually address the belief issue that is actually the core issue in the first place. If entrepreneurs would focus on their beliefs, and if they're not believing, sitting with that first, I think that would create much more massive results than just throwing money at the problem. Oh, I just need to hire this copy coach and then I'll be fine. I just need to buy this course and then I'll be good. Oh, I just need to like throw money into ads and then I'll be good. Oh, I just need a website. Oh, I just need an email list, right? Like there's nothing wrong with any of those things. There's nothing wrong with them at all. But it's the energy that you approach them in that can create very hustly, graspy energy, right? And then your clients can sense that. And then they're going to say things like, I just don't have enough money right now, which is a lie. I just cannot, I just have to check with someone first, which is a lie, right? I don't know. All of these are essentially excuses. People can make money. People can invest money that they don't have in a million different ways, right? Most of the time, it's just because they've sensed something about your energy that's not fully clean energy. It's not fully calm energy. And it makes them go, I'm feeling a little wobbly. I'm going to back out. I'm going to go elsewhere, right? And a lot of people will sit and wonder, well, why didn't that person sign with me, right? Why didn't that person say yes on the sales call? And it really has to go back to evaluating our beliefs, because our beliefs will leak into everything that we do and say. It'll leak into our marketing. It will leak into our sales. It will leak into the way that we show up, the way that we communicate with our clients. And they are going to pick up a certain energy, a certain smell, if you will, where they're like, something just doesn't feel right about this. And they might not even know what it is, right? That's why sometimes they'll just say things like, I just don't have the money, I gotta go buy, right? When you come at it from a very clean place, you believe in your offer so deeply. You're not just excited and excitable. You are grounded and calm and so confident and so convicted that this offer is changing lives. Like when I talk about Business Activation Academy, yes, I'm also excited, but I'm not just excited. I'm not just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this program, and I'm so excited about this, and I'm so excited to teach you this. It's like, no, I'm so convicted that this program is literally letting people leave their jobs. Not just because it's happening, but because I decided it before it happened to create it happening. Does that make sense? That's a very clear distinction that I want you to know. I didn't just believe in my program once people started quitting their jobs and going, Tiffany, I'm a full-time coach. I'm fully booked out. I just signed a 4-figure client. I just had a 5K month. I just had a 10K month. I just had 3 consecutive 10K months and moved into my dream apartment in LA. That happened to one of my students last year. This is the type of belief. This is the type of identity work and self-concept that you really have to hold as a coach, right? And that's the type of groundedness that is so compelling, that isn't just exciting and excitable, which is, and it's not just based on like high vibe energy or feeling happy, because we're not feeling happy all the time. It's based on you being so convicted by your offer and what you teach and your trainings that people just cannot help but get excited as well. People cannot help but want to be a part of what you're doing, right? That's the difference between excitable energy of like, I'm so excited to tell you about this, I'm so excited, to being excited and being deeply grounded and convicted that this is what is going to change the lives of your most aligned clients today. And they don't want to be signing up a year from now or 3 years from now or 2 weeks from now, that they want to be signing up now to get the benefits and reap the benefits now, because that is what is possible for them. That is the level and the weight in which you deeply believe. And that comes from belief. And I had this belief, not this strongly, I would say, right? Because I'm human, but I had this belief when I launched the course. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I did a lot of one-on-ones and I did a lot of building out this process before I built an online course, which is why I always tell my students, I don't tell them this to create rules, because I don't like rules either, but I tell them this because it's so much more impactful to build confidence and build a process that works through starting with one-on-one than just launching a course without having tested it with anybody and then losing confidence in yourself because it didn't go the way you wanted, right? So of course, by the time I built Business Activation Academy, I had worked with hundreds of clients. I had gotten hundreds of clients' results. I knew what I was talking about. I could do it in my sleep. Someone could wake me up at 3 a.m. and tell me, why is BAA the best program for new coaches? And I'd literally be able to spurt something out. I would be able to say like, well, they're going to learn how to connect with their magic. They're going to learn how to build an offer. They're going to learn how to market and talk about that offer. They're going to learn how to sell their program. They're going to learn how to conduct sales calls. They're going to learn how to connect and be in this grounded energy rather than just focusing on strategy. That's why. And then I would go back to sleep. But do you get what I'm saying? Like there has to be that level of like conviction, confidence, and just this deep belief in your offer that your clients and your students are like, oh my gosh, let me get in on that. Like that is absolutely something that I need in my life right now, today. Yeah, Rachel said, yeah, I'm obsessed with your shirt. Sorry to be off topic. No, this is from Urban Outfitters and I just got it and it's still there. So go and look it up. I forget what it's called, but I think if you just search like purple bodysuit, you should be able to find it. I'm always happy to like share where my stuff is from. So always feel free to ask. I'm always open to sharing. Okay. I think I beat that dead horse enough. Let's see. Okay, let me answer one of the questions from my question icon, which is not showing up in the live right now. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Let me answer like one or two more, and then we will close up. Okay. Oh, it expired from the story. That's probably why. Let me go into my archive. Is there any other questions that that you all have that you're on the live right now? Because I'm willing to prioritize that. Let's see. And then let me know how this is resonating with you all so far. Live streams are funny because I feel like I'm literally like talking and staring to myself. So feedback is always good. I'm a very interactive coach. I really want to know what you're thinking and feeling. And if you have other questions or follow-up questions or other things that you want to know, that's what I'm here for. I'm literally here to share all of it. So definitely use the question icon. I don't know why I cannot for the life of me find these questions. Okay, here they are. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, Celeste. Maria, thank you, horse. That brought life to me. Yay. Okay, cool. Let's see. Did someone pop something into, okay, so, okay. I am seeing questions. It's funny. It wasn't coming up earlier. Okay, really quickly, I have two main programs. There are two ways to work with me other than one-on-one coaching, which right now one-on-one coaching is focused on like people who have been through BAA or like someone that's very, very aligned to what I'm teaching. And all of that's in the link in my bio. But Business Activation Academy is my signature foundational program. So that's where you come in and you learn how to book your clients. You learn how to connect with your magic, right? So I don't like the word niche. I feel like it's very constricting. So this is where you learn to connect with your magic and you learn to sell and you learn to market. And this is like my foundational program where all of it happens. So that's Business Activation Academy. That's $55.55. And I also have a payment plan of 5 payments for $11.11. My advanced concepts and advanced teaching, advanced coaching is my mastermind. So I hold my mastermind students at a higher level than my Business Activation Academy students because they are there to create different results. When you're joining BAA, you are joining to create your first couple clients. You're building out your first coaching offer, right? You're learning how to sell it. You're learning how to market it. You're making your first like 10K as a coach, your first 5 to 10K. After that, right? After you've signed a couple of clients, after you've gotten on sales calls and you're learning to build out what your clients need from you, the mastermind, which is Magic Mind, this is at 10K. This is a high level mastermind where you are showing up as a different version of yourself. You are showing up as a higher level version of who you are before, right? Even in just making the investment. And of course, when you're walking away 5 months later. So Magic Mind, the mastermind, is where you really hone in deep into your client's transformation, their brain, their processes. What are they thinking? What are they experiencing? You are getting to, instead of just like sporadically taking action to get clients here and there, you're building your map to 6 figures and beyond. What got you your first few clients is not going to get you to 6 figures. And I want my clients to have a really foundational concept and process to scale to 6 figures and beyond and be able to take the mastermind a couple of rounds in order to continue to grow and build multi-6 figures. So yeah, those are my 2 main programs. Business Activation Academy is 55. Magic Mind is 10K, and it's an intimate group container. I was just telling someone the other day that like, I was just thinking about it too, right? I think about this a lot, is like the results that I see in the mastermind, because we're meeting weekly and it's an intimate container and everyone is around, it's in the link in my bio. So if you just exit out, go to my profile, you'll be able to see the first link is Business Activation Academy. You'll also see a wait list for Magic Mind that opens in April. So yeah, what I was thinking about was it's so easy to create results when you're in a mastermind because you're sitting at a table where everybody else is doing the same things as you and is building audacity to believe in themselves. And meanwhile, I am here as the mastermind leader and you're all masterminding with one another. So it's almost like having like 10 coaches in one that are all like, just going through the same things as you are. And I'm there telling you everything you create is valuable. You are a booked out coach, right? Everything that you do is magical. It is effective, right? Whatever you choose is the right way. I'm like telling you this over and over again with trainings and coaching and Slack. Our Slack community is incredible, right? It's like, how can you not create results when you have these people in your corner consistently on a weekly basis where I'm looking at like, okay, if you didn't get this result that you aimed for, why? Why didn't you, right? Like I'm tracking their revenue. I'm tracking their sales. I'm tracking their content. I literally just posted in the Slack group, one of my clients is killing it, absolutely killing it with her content where it used to be like good, right? Like it was really good content, but now it's like boom, 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 like everything is like top notch and it's so connected to like her just showing up in big energy. Cause I was like telling her, I was like, you could be bigger, right? Go bigger. And now it's like, boom, she's blowing up. She's getting signups after signups. It's literally like, I cannot make this up. So yeah, that's really been powerful for me. And those are the kind of breakdowns. Okay. I have a question. Let me see. Yeah, PCAS_BLA asked how to learn by yourself and coach yourself until you can book a coach that can help you. And I'll like bring this up just so that people know what I'm answering. Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people are not at the place where they feel completely ready to invest in a coach, and that's okay. I think that that's a decision. I will say that it's very, very, very powerful. If you're looking to build a business, your number one investment should be working with a coach or a mentor that you trust, and then deciding that it's going to be the most powerful thing you do. It doesn't even necessarily matter like what exactly the trainings are. Obviously, you have to like trust them and love them to a certain extent, right? Like don't work with someone that you don't feel like you're going to like learn from. But you at a certain point, you just have to decide that this is what you are taking away. This is where you're having breakthroughs. This is how you're learning. So I will say it is really, really powerful if you can make the decision. Like I spent the last 4K of my savings in my first coach. I borrowed money to pay for my first mastermind, and I would do it all over again because it got me to where I am now, right? Like borrowing 20K, or I think it was actually 10K, because I could pay 10K, but I needed another 10K because it was pay in full 20K, and I didn't have 20K cash. So I borrowed 10K. Paying back 10K compared to like where I am in my business now at 700,000 revenue plus is fine. Like there's just, you have to think about the cost of, yeah, you have to think about the cost of the program, but you also have to think about the cost of staying exactly where you are, right? So anyway, that's my spiel on coaching and mentorship, because I think it's really powerful and it's been really powerful for me. But before then, there is so much incredible free content, especially nowadays with podcasts and courses and masterclasses. I 100% believe that you can have high 4-5-figure cash months just by listening to my podcasts and just like binging my live streams and my Q&As and reading my posts and even my stories. Like I think that the things that I'm sharing, people already tell me, people that are not my paid students, they're already getting results. And the students who end up joining my programs, they're like, yeah, I was a fuck yes when you open enrollment for that, because I've already been binging your content and getting results for so long now, right? And so that's really the foundations of marketing, is helping people and caring about them. I care and think about you all so deeply on such a deep, not creepy, but such a deep level that my students laugh at me, but I have files on them. Not in a creepy way, right? Like it's starting to sound really creepy, but like I've taken notes on like, oh, this person mentioned this is what they're struggling with. Out of nowhere, I'll just start thinking about my clients. I'm like, oh, I know that came up in coaching this week for this one person. I'm just going to send them a voice note really quickly because this is what I'm thinking, especially for the mastermind, because that's kind of what they're signing up for. BAA is like more, like it's kind of self-paced. And then you also, of course, have coaching. But mastermind, I'm like, I'm all up in your business. I am all up in your face, right? You are hearing from me. I'm posting. I have a channel on Slack that everyone gets access to in the mastermind called Downloads from Tiff. And I posted it all the time, just going, oh my gosh, okay, I thought about this. We were having this conversation. This is what I want you to implement, right? And then now, like, we just have like, even in last night's call, I told one of my students, I asked her, how many times did you show up this month? And she was like, I think like 7 or 6 or 7. I was like, I need you to double that by the end of this month. I was like, can you do that? And she was like, yeah, I think so. I can do it. Right. And so you have this level of like accountability and magic that's just, you wouldn't be able to create that on your own. And I think it's so, so beautiful. So anyway, everything that I do, I feel like is, and I don't necessarily like, what's the word? I don't necessarily like gatekeep information, right? Like I share what I feel like sharing. I don't think there's like, this is for the Instagram, and this is for this program. And like, of course, there are certain expectations and ways that I'm expecting my students to show up, and certain concepts that are appropriate for each container, right? Like, I'm not going to jump into my DMs with someone who's not a client and like challenge them to do something. That would just be weird, right? But like, I'm sharing this information because I just care so deeply, and I've thought about it so deeply, and I've self-coached myself on it, and I've built processes over it, that everything that I share, all of that free content and information and trainings are so valuable that you can make money from them instantaneously. Yeah, even my episodes, I get messages about it all the time. So yeah, Celeste said, yep, yeah, she's in my BA program, so she knows. Amazing. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Hi. All right. So, Rose Hunting asked, lack of belief in my program is not the case with me. So what other possible reasons for slow success? Yeah, that's a really great question, right? I talk a lot about belief, and I think, yeah, you're so welcome. And I think that belief is a really big factor, but say you've got full belief, right? Like, what are the other reasons? So I first want to just challenge that what if there was still room to believe deeper? Because if you are in full belief in the triad, which I teach, belief in your offer, so what you're selling, it's dripping wet, right? It's so juicy, it's so delicious, right? You love your offer, you're so committed to it. So that's number one. Number two is yourself, right? Yourself, you believe in yourself and your self-concept so much. You have such a belief in that you can deliver results, and you are the best person to coach and to teach. And then you believe in your people. I find that a lot of people kind of get stuck either on, well, all of them come up for different people, but I find that sometimes it's the people, or sometimes it's the offer, right? It's and a lot of the times it is, ourselves as well. But sometimes we're showing up and we have this belief that our clients just aren't willing to pay. Our clients are out there somewhere, right? Our clients are, out lost in the ether, and not able to find us, or we come up with these crazy things. So the first thing I would challenge, not to say that I don't believe you, is, do I really have 100% belief in myself as being the best coach for my most aligned clients? Do I believe that my offer is top notch and I believe in it 100%? And do I believe in my people and my community, that they are resourced and they are willing to invest in themselves and they are committed to getting coaching, and that I just have incredible thoughts about my people and my community? I would check all three of those, because it's typically, if it's not one, it's another. And again, we're human, so these are going to fluctuate, right? So that's just the first thing I want to say, is just check that. There's no harm in checking in and just doing a, just a little tune up and seeing where your beliefs are. And this is something I actually do every single day. I don't just do it once and then it's all good and fine. I have to focus on my beliefs and choose my beliefs every single day. When I start getting complacent, when I start thinking oh, I'm too high level for this, I'm too good for this, right? I am humbled so fucking fast, right? That it forces me to build this on a consistent, committed, devoted basis, because it's just how our brains work. It's because we have human brains, right? Until we can figure out a process to have AI brains that think for us and have 100% belief all the time, it's gonna keep coming up. But say that you feel like you have full belief in all three of those areas. Maybe it's just a matter of taking up more big space and big energy in the ways that you haven't thought of before. What ways maybe feel a little bit risky and give you a bit of an edge, or make you want to panic a little bit, that you haven't done? What are things that you haven't tried that would just make you a little scary? This was something that I was asking my mastermind last night. I was asking them, like, if you were fully brave, if you believed that you could not fail in what you were doing, what would you do? Right? And this gets us thinking, because sometimes we think that, well, I've talked about it so much. This is another thing I said to my mastermind, was like, as coaches, we get so caught up in like, oh, but I did this and I did that. And because we're the ones doing it, we're so enveloped in the process. We're like, well, everyone has to know. Everyone has to know because I've been talking about it for years. Everyone has to know. I'm already in people's faces. I'm already sending an email a week. I'm already posted this week, right? It's like we are so caught up in this process. But for the people who are on the receiving end, people need to see things over and over and over again before they buy. And also people are busy and they're easily distractible and they have a lot going on in their lives, just like we do, right? Sometimes I literally see a program and I'm like, oh, I definitely want to join. And then I just get distracted. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay. I don't have my, my card with me right now. Or like, maybe I'm like out, I'm in the car, I'm not at home. And so I want to pull it up on my desktop and then I forget. Thank goodness that some of these coaches and some of these mentors send out like last chance emails going, hey, if you haven't gotten in, get in here. They're taking up big space and energy and telling me, if you want to get in here, this is your last chance. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I do want to join. I just completely forgot, or it slipped my mind, or my daughter was sick and I didn't get a chance to join earlier in the week, but I want to join now, right? So just keep in mind that however much we think we need to show up, double that, triple that, quadruple that, okay? Because oftentimes when I ask my students, and they'll come to me with this, right? And they'll be like, and we work together too, one-on-one. So it's just a good reminder, like how many offers have you actually made? How many times have you actually called people into your program? How many times have you actually gone out to meet new people and tell them what you do? And typically my students are like, like a couple of times, or like one time or two times. And I'm like, do you think, and I'll even ask them, like, did you buy the first time you saw my program? And they're like, no, right? And so it's just a good way to like keep up with checking in and remembering that our people are human and that we are human, and it takes repetition and taking up a lot of space and being really big. So yeah, that's what I would say. And I hope that's helpful. Yeah, you're so welcome. All right. Thank you for the question. Let's see. Should I answer one more? I'll answer one more. Let me pull up the questions from my other question box. Ooh, this is a really good question. I'm going to put it in the chat so we can all see it. Ways to measure success that isn't numbers. What a good question. What a great mindset to have, that you're already thinking about different levels of success beyond what we're taught in a very capitalistic society, a very capitalistic post-industrial society that's so focused on numbers and growth and linear projection and all of these things, right, that are so focused. Yay, you're here. Amazing. Yeah. And so I really like this because I have done this so much this year. Because there was a time where I got really overwhelmed. Like, let's just be really honest, right? Like, I got really overwhelmed trying to keep up with like my highest cash month. And if the month after wasn't that high, I would think, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not keeping it up. I'm losing momentum, right? Or like I would sign 5 clients in a row. And then the next couple of weeks, it would be really quiet. And that's just kind of part of entrepreneurship. You're not constantly, well, I shouldn't say that. When you're growing your business, and for the most part, it's not always like really, really high enrollments, right? Typically, we have like launch periods, we open cart, we let people in, or we can only take up to like 4 or 5 people at a time, right? And so we have to wait for them to be done in order to enroll more people, because especially as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, like we're not taking in like normally mass groups of people at once. So there's going to be like high months, and then there's going to be really kind of slow, stagnant months. Do you have the willpower and the energy and the belief to carry you through those slower months and not go into like despair, right? Yeah, breathwork monks that I have too. It's helped so much not to get down on myself. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that there's so many ways to look at this and to really focus, because it can be really, really easy, especially if you are constantly following other people that are also sharing lots of like really, really big milestones and wins and big high cash months, which is amazing. Everyone should share, and women should be talking a lot more about money and how much they're making and celebrating these wins. But it can be really easy to compare yourself and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't do that. Am I losing traction, etc. Right? So I really had to hone in to the belief that like I mentioned earlier in this live, I was pulling back a little bit so that I can focus on my processes, my client transformations, my client success stories, rather than just making lots of money for the sake of making a lot of money, right? Because I can do that and I know how to do that, but I didn't want to do that now and have the money now versus sustainable wealth in the long run. And a lot of what I was doing, like a lot of these programs, like when you launch a beast of an academy, it's like launching a whole new business. All right. It was not easy. I have gone through so many trials and tribulations with my academy, and it actually really prepped me for my Magic Mind launch. Like when I launched Magic Mind, I was like, wow, this is really easy because I had launched so many times before, because I had launched Business Activation Academy so many times, and I'd gone through so much mind drama, so much pricing drama, so much client drama, so much offer drama, so much me drama that I was just creating for no reason, that by the time I launched Magic Mind, I was like, decision done, making this is what's happening, this is what's going, this is the investment, this is the requirements, this is the application, this is the open date. I had very little, I still had drama because I'm a human being, but I didn't have as much drama about it because I was like, okay, cool. So the ways of measuring success that is not numbers is the way that your brain is showing up and operating on a higher level. And what that means is you are spiraling less, not spiraling at all, because you are a human being that is human, and brains are going to brain, okay? So you're never going to be able to get out of it completely. I said this on my stories yesterday, but for those who didn't catch it, I feel like being at this level, and a lot of like what people expect, like, oh, it must be like so different, and it must be like, you just must have like so much like belief, and it's so easy, and like it just switched this, like the switch just flipped for you, right? And it's like so different. Like I didn't really ever feel that. It's been a very gradual growth, because it's not like someone just handed me 700K overnight. I built this little by little, right? Little 1,000 by 1,000, 5,000 by 5,000, right? Like little by little, I worked on my mindset. Little by little, I built belief. Little by little, I believed that my success was inevitable. Little by little, I learned how to launch. Little by little, I had more and more launches. Little by little, I failed over and over and over and over. And little by little, I built my capacity for embarrassment and inadequacy and imposter syndrome and all the uncomfortable emotions and shame, right? Like there's so many things that I've done that I look back and I'm just like cringe. Like there are things I could tell you that you would just be like, Tiffany, what were you thinking? And I don't know what I was thinking, right? But we're human. And because I look back, and instead of like shaming myself over it and making myself feel really bad or playing the blame game, I am so proud of myself, and I love myself for every decision I've ever made. And I have my own back so deeply that I'm okay. and it's not that big of a deal. And I feel like that's something that I've been able to grow so much that you can't see in the numbers. Well, maybe you can see because I'm continuing to grow in general. So sure. But like, you can't track that necessarily, you know? That was so big for me because I used to second guess everything. I used to sit in front of a menu and stare at it and not, well, do I want this or do I want that? Well, I still kind of do that sometimes. But in my business, I've learned to not do that as much. Not that it never happens, but I make decisions fast. I think fast. Like I know what I need to do on a very, very quick level and scale. And yeah, and it's been really helpful for me to look at it in that way. And be able to like really see how my mind has progressed, you know, because again, it's not so much the strategies and the best practices because the results don't come from your actions. They just don't, right? All my students know this. Results do not come from actions. They just do not. They come from your thoughts. They come from your beliefs, right? Time and time and time and time again. I've seen that over and over and over and over and over. I've also traveled so much this year, which is something I really wanted to do. I have also built a retirement fund that I'm adding to. I was able to gift my mom $1,000 for her birthday. I was able to spend more quality time with my daughter and be like a backstage dance mom in the Nutcracker, right? Which I like probably wouldn't have been able to do because I wouldn't have like been able to take time off for all of the rehearsals and all of the things. I would be rushing home from work. I wouldn't even be able to get her to practice on time because practice is from 4 to 5, right? And that's like rush hour. There's so much flexibility I've created in my schedule and in my lifestyle that I've just built that has been so powerful and beneficial, that I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of myself. And so I encourage you all, and I teach this to my students too, to really look at like, you know, of course, there's nothing wrong with money goals. I love money. I love making money, right? Like making money is like orgasmic, right? It's so much fun. I love teaching it. I love everything about it, right? I like tracking my money. I like knowing exactly how much money I've created in any given time. I normally know it down to the number. Oh, thank you, Yesenia. But I also want to challenge you to look at in what ways you are creating fun goals, breakthroughs, achievements that are not money related. Because I truly believe that when you focus on those things and when you think about those things and you create time for those things, the money comes because of it. Wrap your head around that. Money just happens. Money just is attracted to me when I'm having fun. Money is flowing my way when I am in the most pleasure. I make the most money when I'm resting. Oh my God. Imagine if every woman believed that they make the most money when they're rested. Imagine if we believe that as a society in corporate America. Like, just imagine how much would be different. So, yeah, that's what I want to leave you all with today. Thank you so much for being here, whether you just jumped on or you're here this entire time. It means so much to me, and I love sharing and just giving you all the value. Yesenia said, thank you for sharing your story. You are beautiful. This information is so great and exactly what I need to hear. You don't know how much you're a blessing to me. Oh my gosh, thank you. You're going to make me teary-eyed. That's all I've ever wanted. I just want to be able to deliver value and see more women win and see more women making money, more women of color making money and rolling in the dough and taking up more space in this world. That's all that I want. And I am so, so, so glad that everyone on this live or catching this replay is showing up for themselves and deciding to learn and deciding to invest their time and energy into their mind, because that is free. And you can do that anytime, anywhere. Okay. Mwah. I love you all so, so much. I will turn this into a replay. And yeah, if there's anything else that you need, just my DMs are always open. If you literally just think of me and you're like, oh my God, I have a question for her, or like, she mentioned this, I don't know, you can literally DM me anytime. I love answering my DMs, and I love like all of your responses, and it's so much fun. So like, please don't feel like please don't feel like you're bothering me or anything like that. Like, I love responding to my DMs. And if you know that Business Activation Academy is for you, the link for that is in the bio, especially if you are a new coach looking to book your first few clients, looking to create your first offer. If you're ready for a more advanced level, especially if you've already done BAA, Magic Mind applications open late February. It might sound like a far away time, but it's really not. It's coming up soon. So make sure you're on the wait list. I'm also offering extended payment plans for the mastermind that start as early as this month, because all payment plans will need to be paid before we get started. So you can DM me for more information on that. Everything is in the link in my bio, as always. BAA is $55.55, and I have a payment plan that's 5 payments over 5 months of $11.11. So that's $11.11 each month for 5 months. And you'll see all of that on the BAA sales page, and you'll be able to apply. I get those emails instantly. I review them instantly, and you're in an incredible community. Maria's here. I know Celeste was here. I, for some reason, cannot see like any of my viewers right now, but so many of my BAA students are here, and my Magic Mind students. Cecilia was here earlier. So yeah, it's such a beautiful place to be. Okay. I love you all. I will let you all go. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all soon, and hope to see you in my containers soon as well. All right. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.